to me, that's one of the more important things in our business. It's our reputation, and the buck stops with me. So regardless if it was one of my techs that went out there or a salesperson that upset somebody or an install didn't go as we would have liked it to, the buck stops with me.
Like any other ways that you pay attention to your reviews and incorporating those into your broader marketing?
If someone's being a jerk, if they're being belittling, if they're being disrespectful, we won't tolerate it. We won't engage with those people. And you can find an online review, 2 online reviews that I can think of where we don't kiss their ass when they're being like that.
Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the Plumbing and HVAC Hustle Podcast. And today I've got Texas on with me. How you doing, sir?
My dog, how you doing?
We're talking today about this idea of reflecting back what customers love about you in your marketing. And I've got the high and mighty idea that it actually not only affects your marketing, but your customer service. I know you're really intentional about listening to customers. What are some things that you do with the information? Because I think you just got off a call. Let's just start with how it is. You just got off a call with a customer that was having a difficult time. Why do you take those calls? Like, why are you taking difficult conversations with customers?
So I don't take all of them, but there are times when I want, first of all, let me back up. I want to know about all of them. I don't take all of them. My general manager or operations manager will take the bulk of them. Just so happened that today they're conducting a training, so I was that line of defense today. But I want to know what our customers are saying. I want to understand, okay, did we screw something up or are they being difficult? More times than not, we mess something up and we need to make it right and we need to learn from it. So I really, it's important to me to have that pulse on the business and what the customer feels for a lot of reasons, but I kind of view it like if the customer is upset, they must have some level of care to share that with me. And as much as I don't like hearing negative feedback, I appreciate it because it's just going to make us better. I mean, certainly I'd love to say and feel like I'm perfect and that we do everything right all the time, but that's just not the case. But I do want to know what their sentiment is, and the fact that they're willing to share that with me, I appreciate.
And I mean, this is all in context, right? So you guys have 1,300 plus Google 5-star reviews. This is not a small company, and you've gotten a lot of happy customers. How do you feature those positive experiences in your marketing? How do you reflect back with the happy customers? How do you show them as part of your marketing?
So we've done a couple of different things. We did a series for a while where we would read our online reviews and express appreciation to the customers that left us those reviews, not just in a response to their online review, but also in video format, reading their review and then acknowledging it and responding me personally to them. I also personally respond to all of the online reviews. To me, that's one of the more important things in our business. It's our reputation, and the buck stops with me. So regardless if it was one of my techs that went out there or a salesperson that upset somebody or an install didn't go as we would have liked it to, the buck stops with me. If I'm going to sit here and take all the praise for the good, I got to very well be willing to accept the negative consequences that come along with it as well. So to your original question, how do we feature that in our marketing? In its most base, simple form, it's how are we responding to those reviews, and not how are we responding to just the good ones. How do we respond to the not so good ones? You know, what are we saying? Are we being defensive, or are we acknowledging that, hey, we actually made a mistake here? And equally, are we only responding to the negative reviews, or are we expressing appreciation and responding to the positive ones as well? And you'll see that a lot of times if you look at a lot of competitors uh, in your markets, uh, online reviews, they'll have 800, 900 reviews and maybe 10 negative ones, and those are the only ones that are responded to. What about all the people that were kind to you?
Hmm. How about like social media stuff? Do you ever like show up in Facebook groups, or like how do you think about social listening? And like how do you kind of keep a pulse on like reputation stuff more generally on the internet? Do you rush to problems there, or do you kind of figure out people that are promoters and kind of push nice stuff to them? Do you do anything for referrals? I'm just curious about that type of stuff.
We don't do a referral program. I know that a lot of people recommend it. For me, I want referrals to be genuine. I think that oftentimes the people that refer you, they're probably referring you either way, whether you compensate them for that or not. Maybe you get some uptick in referral if they're compensated for it. I don't know that that's authentic and genuine. Maybe it is, and I'm just thinking too much about that. Uh, but then,
Honestly, I think some people feel thrown off a little bit sometimes if they're rewarded financially. Like it's like, oh, am I making this decision because I'm being compensated? So yeah, it is weird with compensating, but I think like gifting can be a good. I think that can be like a nice, like something nice, like a little gift or something could be nice.
yeah, we like to gift with no expectation of anything in return, and if something comes of that, that's fantastic, and we certainly appreciate it. But it's not anything that we ever do with the expectation of receiving anything. So all of our guys have prepaid. I'll give you an example. We send all of our techs with prepaid Visa gift cards. They all have, I think, $20 Visa gift cards on them at all times. So before they head to any service call, they introduce themselves and they say, "Hey, I'm about to stop and get some gas and a coffee. What can I get you while I'm there?" And really, anything the customer. We've delivered 6 packs of beer to customers before when they say, even jokingly, if they said, "Hey, yeah, unless you're going to bring a 6 pack of beer, just come on over." All right, well, I'll see you soon. Grab a 6 pack of beer and take it to them.
I love that. I mean, that's listening to customers and doing something funny with it. That's fun. Um, like any other ways that you pay attention to your reviews and incorporating those into your broader marketing? I know I see like the amazing reviews on the website. Um, and is there other ways? How are you promoting reviews on social and things like that? How are you using reviews?
We probably don't leverage it as much as we should. We don't push it. We kind of let it just be known. People can look us up if I post something or share something. It's just sort of known uh, because of the reputation we built and the authenticity that we try to serve with. It's not really us having to say it anymore, if that makes sense. It sort of gets said on our behalf, and then we just try to support it. I was going to say early on in the early stages, I would before I even knew about technology, I would just text my customers, "Hey, if you were happy, would you mind leaving me a review on Yelp or Google? Here are the links." And I would just copy paste the links in the text message. So nothing too sophisticated there. So we certainly we ask our technicians, or excuse me, our technicians ask at the door for permission to from the customer that if they're not doing something, if they're not delivering a 5-star service experience, to please let them know while they're in the house so they can course correct and get on track. So we want to know that we're on track before we leave and have to have some sort of a uh, uh, what's the word response a response. We want to know in real time, hey, if you're not happy, let us know, please. You won't offend us. Give us the opportunity to make it right while we're here right now. And more times than not, we're getting ahead of those problems before they're problems. And then at the end of the call, when it's concluding, we ask them, hey, did I deliver that 5-star experience that I promised you I would? Cool. When I leave, you're gonna get an automated request for a review. If you could fill that out, I would really appreciate it.
Awesome. And I feel like one of the reasons I felt like you guys do this mirroring or like social listening stuff with customers, and I know you do because obviously you're answering the phone today, even though you've got 1,300 plus Google reviews, so you're listening. The idea that you guys have the pricing transparency, you guys have like the best video I've seen on pricing transparency, exactly what goes into the price. You have a calculator on your website. You have all these different things regarding pricing transparency. And to me, that's like a customer focused company. Like somebody is like listening. There are a lot of sales frameworks out there that kind of talk about like hiding price or like withholding price and things like that. Versus like customers obviously all want this, right? Like customers want to be able to get some idea of price online if they can. So I assume it's really driven by customer preference. And from your perspective, have you made any other big changes to your marketing or your actual service based on like customer preferences being different than what like the gurus are recommending or things?
So I get pretty jaded when we talk about sales and a lot of the gurus and those guys, and I won't mention names just out of courtesy. I try to teach my team let me back up a little bit. One of the biggest compliments I can get from somebody is somebody who used to work here and no longer does for any reason, and they refer a family member of theirs to us. They know the inner workings of the company inside and out and what we teach, and they're still willing to refer us to a family member. So I think about it from that perspective a lot. If the customer really knew what was going on behind the scenes, would they still work with us? And if the answer is probably not, or maybe they'd feel deceived to some degree, for us, it's probably not the way that we want to operate our business. And then we just kind of had this moment of realization, if you will, this epiphany that, everyone's always looking for what their unique selling proposition is. They're always looking for, what makes us different. And most of the time, most people end up saying the same things. We do the best install. Maybe you do, but everyone says it. We do 24-hour service. Okay, how many people say that? And we just kind of looked at ourselves and said, what do we actually do that no one else does? And one of the guys pointed it out here to me one day. I was having a conversation with somebody, working on closing a deal, and I got off the phone and he pointed out to me that I just told the customer what everything cost with no hesitation. And for me, I'd done that for many years. It's never really bothered me. I'm not ashamed to try to earn a profit. I'm not ashamed of what we pay our people. I'm not trying to hide anything. And then that kind of just spurred this thought of being transparent and, well, why don't we just lean into that and double down on that? What if we just, instead of having these weird conversations about, well, 30% of the price goes to this and 30% of the price is for this, and it's really just political language to try to skirt around really saying anything at all. What if we just told people? And then if they don't like it at that point, we can all accept, okay, they just don't like the price, and that's okay.
Hey there, are you a home service business owner that's tired of your answering service just kicking the can down the road? Well, we can help. Pink Collars will assign a dedicated, supported, and trained individual to answer your phones, emails, texts, and even more. Give us a call at 888-325-7465, or better yet, check us out online, www.pinkcollars.com.
One of the things that rubbed me the wrong way about sales in general before I actually had to do it to survive in my company, right? When I was just making websites back in the day, I would listen to the sales call from the sales. I would hear it because it'd be like a small office or whatever. I was hearing the sales guy and I was like, that's not what we do, dude. You know what I mean? I was like, it bothered me a lot because I felt like what we were doing was good and valuable, but he was saying something else. And I just want it to be accurate. You know what I mean? When somebody sells something, I think you should learn enough about what it is that you're selling. If it's separate people than the technicians, you should learn enough that you're actually saying accurately what you're selling versus fluffy language, or even really it's in, I don't know. So it bothered me. So I basically was like, I think we can sell stuff even if we accurately state what we do. I think it kind of goes along with that story, is like, if we can't sell it even though we're accurately saying it, then we weren't supposed to sell it.
Yeah, and look, I don't have a negative outlook on sales. I think sales are important. They are the lifeblood of the business. Sales is it's let's not fool ourselves or try to kid ourselves. Sales are important. I think that the way many people go about sales is gross, and I think that many sales trainers are pretty gross in at least their teachings. And for me, that's just never been the type of business I want to run. I think that that's largely the reason that people have such a negative outlook on salespeople, because there are really good salespeople out there who are quality people who earn their living selling, and they're not bad people. But there are a lot that are also. And so I just kind of wanted to find a way to bridge the gap in the customer's mind of, am I being taken for a ride? Is this guy getting one over on me? Is he not? And really just lay it all out there and let the customer make a choice. I was having dinner one night with a very well-known industry sales leader, and he was sharing with me some of the things that he teaches, and I do believe he was sharing it with me with good intentions, trying to be helpful. And I responded to him with, I asked him, would it be okay if I shared with him how I would have approached that call? And he obliged me. And he said, that's really good, but that only works because it's you saying it the way you say it. And I just disagreed. I think that certainly you have to be authentic when you're saying these things, but I disagree that being authentic ever works against you.
It's a good discussion. The discussion around authenticity is always interesting to me because it's scary, actually, to be honest with you, the topic of authenticity, probably because I have different facets of my personality, and sometimes I'm very intense and caffeinated, and sometimes I'm chill, and so sometimes I wonder if people think that that's not authentic because I'm kind of like I've got different I've got different vibes at different times.
Because you're a person and you have moods.
Yeah, yeah,
It's pretty authentic. Be
yeah,
more.
yeah.
It'd be disingenuous to try to maintain one emotion and one mood all the time if you weren't feeling that.
Yeah. So, to get back on the topic around the reviews thing, is there ever a time where you like read a review and you're like, I need to change my business? Or has there any been any times where like you've made substantial changes based on something that was happening on reviews, whether it was a negative review or whether it was like, wow, I really see people keep on saying this thing, Maybe we should like do more of that. They really like it.
Sure, both of those actually, but I will say that most of the time we've modified or made changes to processes or to the business, they don't end up online because we've fixed it in real time. Uh, Still a review, but not an online review. Most of how our business is built and most of the processes in our business have come from a place of screwing something up and saying we will never make that mistake again. And then you inject a process or a modification to a process to ensure that that can't happen again. So absolutely, yeah, listening to the customers. I think that that's one of the things that so many business owners get wrong is they get this feedback, maybe a negative review or customer complaint, and the initial reaction for many is to get defensive and try to either explain to the customer what they were thinking or change the customer's opinion instead of just saying, hey, look, regardless of what we were intending to do, if that wasn't your perception, we screwed up somehow because you should not have been left feeling like that for any reason. So we messed something up and we need to own that and we need to fix it.
It reminds me of this quote from Jeff Bezos. He says, "One thing I love about customers is that they are divinely discontent. Their expectations are never static. They go up. It's human nature." And I think the initial reaction for most employees too, right? I think about our employees and like trying to teach them to have this mindset around customer service is that if somebody has an issue that like it's basically like it's not the worst thing ever that customers have issues. Like in fact, we should be grateful that we're the ones that get to deal with these issues, because if we're dealing with a lot of issues, we're actually every single one of those is an opportunity to improve. And so if we're dealing with tons of issues, we're actually going to improve at the fastest rate than our competitors. So especially if we're listening, but it's not feedback and it's not going to make our business better if we're not listening.
Well, and I don't know if I said it since we've been recording or if I said it before we started recording. But as much as I'll say we as in contractors, business owners, as much as we don't like to hear negative feedback, I do think that we should appreciate it for what it is. Someone is telling us where we are falling short and giving us this information that we can use to get better, that will in turn deliver a higher customer satisfaction rate, which will in turn lead to more growth. So someone actually cares enough to share this with you, and our reaction is to get pissed off about it, which is crazy to me because some of that negative feedback can really be the key to unlocking so much growth, and they're giving it to you.
And I mean, like, I think there's a good kind of like last couple things to talk about here. You think about the customer is always right. All right, let's do that for a second. The customer's always right. But there's a lot of people that are unreasonable. That's true too. It's the problem with going into that mode is that it gives you no power, right? Like extreme ownership means I can actually do something about this. Like I have the ability to improve. So I do think it's usually a little bit smaller contractors, to be real. It's like the under 3 million, under 5 million contractors that get stuck in this mode of like, I'm not going to fix this. They are wrong, and they are, but it gives you no power, right? There's a lot of customers that are wrong, is the real truth, but it gives you no power to think that way.
And when I'm faced with those types of clients, they're unreasonable. So just understand who you're dealing with right off the bat, right? Understand that you're dealing with somebody who's unreasonable. Oftentimes, I find that if you just listen to them and then ask them, how can I make this right for you? What would make you feel better? They're not as unreasonable in what they're asking. They're venting, they're mad about something. Maybe it's warranted, maybe it's not. Maybe they're making something way bigger deal than what it actually is. But to them, it's a big deal. And what we can do about it and assume or regain some level of control over the matter, or at least the outcome, is just ask them what do they want. Now that I'll kind of add this caveat. If someone's being a jerk, if they're being belittling, if they're being disrespectful, we won't tolerate it. We won't engage with those people. And you can find an online review, 2 online reviews I can think of, where we don't kiss their ass when they're being like that. We won't bow down and try to save face for somebody who's being in attempting to be harmful or cause a problem. But I also believe that those are the exceptions and not the rules. And most of the time, the feedback that we receive is something that we can use to learn and grow and be better from.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I really appreciate this conversation going into this like negative review thing and like how to respond to difficult conversations. And it's also like really important to recognize, like, think about this, like you're thinking about those. You think about them a lot, I think. I think you think about these negative, like the difficult ones a lot. But there's 1,300 plus 5-star reviews for Medley. You know, like it's insane. Those are all real too. Like it's real human beings that had a good experience. I was just reading through them. There's so much evidence to the quality of your services and your customer service, including ones that are talking about how there was something that went wrong and then you guys fixed it and made everything right, right? And those can still be 5-star reviews. But all these like super positive reviews, do you guys do anything to like, do you do anything internally to talk about reviews? Do you do you like honor people that are getting a lot of 5-star reviews? How do you do that internally with your team? Do you do anything for those?
Not specifically, but I'll tell you my thought on this. Providing that level of service is so deeply embedded into the culture, it's normal. It's not normal to have an upset customer or to not do something about it. So it's really, we don't have to really talk about that because it's just the culture. It's who we are as a company. An intense focus on providing a world-class 5-star experience with every interaction, from the time that phone is answered to the time that we perform that maintenance to the phone call when the tech is on the way. Everything should just be 5-star world class. Like you have a friend coming over and that friend or a family member is coming over to solve your problem. It shouldn't feel like this company transactional thing taking place. It should feel like my buddy's coming over to fix the air conditioner. And I believe that. So that's just a really long way of saying we share the reviews, not like in a formal setting. If I see one, I'll screenshot it and send it to the tech and say, hey, great job. This is badass. Or and they'll circulate it amongst themselves as well. But it's just the culture. It'd be like me saying, did you go to bed last night? Like, yeah, you probably did. Are you gonna eat today? Yeah, you probably are. If I said, are you gonna provide a 5-star experience to your next customer? They'd be like, yeah. It'd be a weird thing to ask.
You know, I think I'm always surprised by how you're just a very different guy, Texas. I hope you take that as a compliment for like the industry, because you just don't. I don't think you're paying attention to the like the rhetoric on you know what I mean? Like you don't care. Like you're just doing it how you want to do it. I really like that. I'm like very attracted to that. And I want to continue to know you and to learn from you just because I think you are like essentially just being very authentic and you guys are just you're playing your own game. And that's I think some people can learn from too is like play your own game. Stop looking at everything in this industry and trying to like do it how everyone else does it.
And thank you for that. I had that realization probably my second year in business. I was at an event and everybody was in the event taking ideas from everyone. And I get it. You're there to swap ideas and exchange information. And I agree with that. But I remember everybody basically just wanting to build everyone else's business. And I remember sitting there and thinking, that's no fun. I want to build the business my way. I want to do it the way I want to do it. And that's why I do this. I'd have gotten to a franchise if I wanted to do that. I want to build what I want to build and what I feel good about and do it my way.
Dig it. I dig it, Al. I really appreciate you being on the podcast. I appreciate you taking time today. Where can people go check you out if they want to see what you guys are up to?
Facebook is the probably the largest presence I have, and the company as well. Callmedley.com. You can see all of our pricing on there. If anybody wants to see what we charge for anything, customers or other competitors, oftentimes our competitors will get on there just to see what we're charging so they can try to chop our legs off or charge it about the same. Who knows? But they get on there. Clear cost pricing is on there for service work. And there's a lot of good information on the website. We have a YouTube channel that we're constantly updating and looking to grow. Instagram, we don't have such a large presence on there, but we're on there as well.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you very much. Callmedley.com. Check out Texas. He's doing shit his own way. He's badass. Podcast is put on by hookagency.com. Hook Agency on social media. Thank you for checking it out.